Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Common Sense Academy. I'm your host, Joe Palmetto, Joe the lawyer. Today, we are going to break down the very tragic death of Chase Allen, a sovereign citizen. Most of you are probably already aware of what happened. This happened a couple of days ago, so there's been extensive coverage on the news and on YouTube. So of course I'm a little late to the scene here, but probably quicker than usual for Joe Palmetto, Joe the lawyer in the Common Sense Academy. So if you want to tune in, if you're free on this Friday night or you're watching this video at a later time, can't wait for everyone to join me. So what we're going to do is we're going to take a look at the video, the live police video that involved Chase Allen. Warning, the video contains graphic content, probably be demonetized here. And then we're going to jump into some facts around this. I got an article that I want to delve into, and then I'm also going to present my opinion when it comes to all aspects of this. How tragic it is, Chase itself. I've been telling everybody for a long time, unfortunately, that this type of violence was very, very predictable when it came to sovereign citizens. It's happened many, many times in the past. And this is the first time I think that the news media on a national level has really picked up on it, probably because over the last few years, police shootings, especially in cars, are just everywhere. It's everywhere in the media. It's a hot topic. It's a hot issue. But sovereign citizens have been dangerous for years, for decades. So I'm going to delve into, I'm going to share my opinions on this. We're going to watch the video. I'm going to break it down from a legal perspective. I'm going to break it down from the Common Sense Academy perspective and on a human perspective overall. I like to watch the video straight through, as most of you know. So when we put the video on, I may comment on it, but I'm going to run it clean so that it's uninterrupted, and then we will comment and have our discussion on it afterwards. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. Joe Palmetto, Joe the lawyer on the Common Sense Academy. If you like my content, please like, subscribe, comment, and share. Also, check out the description below. I have another channel where I do more straight legal analysis. And also, I have a book that I wrote on sovereign citizens. So for those of you who are unaware of the sovereign citizen movement or sort of new to it, please consider purchasing that book just to give you an idea of what's going on in this country, what's going on in this world with the sovereign citizen movement. Okay. Hello, Skibo. Thank you very much for tuning in. And I appreciate it. Hold on one second here. Let me see if I can open this up so I can chat in the so that I can chat with everybody while we watch this video. Hello, Skibo. Hello. Okay, I'm all logged in here to chat. I'm glad everybody's interested to hear my take on this. And for those of you who are new, I'm a criminal defense attorney. I know a lot about the sovereign citizen movement. I've studied it to a large degree over the past 5 or 6 years. And I'm also a criminal defense attorney, so I understand a lot of what police. I'm not a police officer, okay, but I read a lot of law on the actions of police and the justified actions that they can take, and also the justified actions of individuals who are confronting the police. So I think I have a lot to say on this topic. All right. Hey, Chief Tuttle, thank you for tuning in. Now, before we jump into the video, and like I said, we're going to watch it straight through. I am going to comment on it a little bit as we watch it, but do most of my analysis afterwards. All right. I know many of you came here for another reason, and you can see I'm a straight Pittsburgh guy here. Got the Steelers, got the Pittsburgh Penguins. Raise your cup, your glass in the air. Take a sip with me before we watch this video. It's a Friday night. Enjoy that beer. Enjoy that whiskey. Enjoy that glass of wine. Cheers with me. It tastes better when we sip together. I'm drinking iced tea. Cheers. All right, let's watch this. Let's watch the video. I'm totally going to be demonetized for this, but that's okay. And I have not watched the video all the way through yet. Just an FYI. Do we got sound on this? Okay, whoops. All right, let me jump back. All right, it looks like this is the officers. They don't yet have the audio on record. This officer is driving and is likely trailing Mr. Allen. There we go, pulls over, and now we can hear the body cam video.
How's it going?
Good, how are you?
Good, I'm Officer Farmington Police. Reason for the stop today is there's no registration on your vehicle.
I don't need registration and I don't answer questions.
Yes, you do. You need registration.
Davis, Fox 21. Can you have a couple more head my way? Is this back window roll down?
Why do you need to know that?
I just want to make sure that you're the only one in the vehicle. So here's the deal, man. I'm stopping you because there's no registration on your vehicle, and I'm requesting your identification. Okay? You are detained at this time, and you are not free to leave.
Told him he's detained.
Provide me your identification.
Told him he's detained.
Okay, so I'm going to take that as a no, that you're not going to provide me your identification. Is that the route we're going? Or would you like to provide your identification to me, and we can have a conversation, we can discuss the laws that you're breaking, and then we can go from there.
If you want my identification, it will be under duress and you accept surety and trusteeship over it.
Oh, man.
Then you will be responsible for any debts that you are trying to incur here.
There it is. The sovereign
so
citizen.
I'm not trying to incur any debts or anything. I'm trying to investigate why your vehicle doesn't have any registration.
1692, you are trying to incur debt and legal action for something that is not allowed.
Okay.
And under
So,
19, section 245, traveling is a federally protected activity. in which
I understand what you're saying. I understand what you're saying. And what I'm telling you is that you do not have an option to identify yourself.
I do.
You are lawfully required to identify yourself. So you can provide your identification to me, and we can have a conversation about the laws that you've broken, or you can fail to identify it to me, and we can go that route too. I'm perfectly okay with either way you want to go, but the direction that this encounter goes is 100% in your hands.
Let me just stop it. I can't resist. I'm sorry. I wanted to watch it all the way through. But the officer, as I'm sure most of you know, Mr. Allen had a clear sovereign citizen license plate. So this officer's already going to be on high tension, right? He's already going to be on very high tension because he knows he's dealing with a sovereign citizen. Many officers are trained specifically on sovereign citizens. And so the language that he's using, you can tell basically from the beginning that the officer realizes this is a sovereign citizen, because he's saying, well, I understand the laws that you're quoting. I understand this and that. Okay. But he's also on very high alert, and he's ready to act because he already perceives this individual as a threat because of his ideology to a degree. Okay.
Okay.
Is a corporate policy which you have to be contracted and to be required to follow it. Unless you can provide me a contract with my wet ink signature on it saying that I'm required to follow it.
Okay.
Then there is
so do you want to identify yourself to me, or do you want to go a different route? Wonderful. Do you have a driver license as well?
I am not giving you jurisdiction.
Okay.
Do not stop. Do not detain. You are not allowed to stop me.
Let me see that. I didn't see what you just tried to show me. Can you show that to me again? What's this?
This is the passport. It says, do not stand, do not detain. If you go on the first page, it says, the United States hereby requests all who may it concern to permit the citizens.
Here's what I'm telling you. Here's what I'm telling you.
Without delay or hindrance.
Okay, will you hand that to me so I can read it?
You see, it's sad that these people sell these things to people on the internet, And it just feeds this ideology because the language and the documents can feel real and look official, but they are clearly fake and useless.
You want me to look at it through this tiny crack in your window?
I'm handing it to you.
You're not going to hand it to me?
If I hand this to you, you accept trusteeship and surety, and you are obligated.
Sure, I'll accept trustingship if you just hand me the document so I can identify who you are because you're required by state law.
I am not
Thank you so much, Mr. Chase Allen.
That is not me. That is a piece of plastic paper.
So you have a fraudulent passport?
No.
Wonderful. That's what I'm hearing. Okay, step out of the car for me.
Looks like a real passport.
Sir, step out of the vehicle right now.
I am not required to.
Step out of this vehicle right now.
Then we're going to have an issue where
Step out of the car right now.
Don't step out of the car. We're going to break the window and pull you out. Step out of the car.
Gun.
We have shots fired. Shots fired.
Sarge, step back. Sarge, step back.
Sarge, step back. David, Fox 20. Where's the post office? We have shots fired. We have suspect down. 7 more. Show us your fucking hands.
Show us your hands. Don't move.
Fucking hands. Here, I'm gonna go. Keep him on gun. Keep him on gun. Keep him on gun.
Okay, I'm coming up. Close in here. Is everybody good?
Yeah, has anybody didn't make a hit?
Did he shoot?
I don't have any fucking idea. My fucking gun jammed, so I had to drop my mag. Your mag. Yeah, that's mine, because it's fucking jammed. Good? Alright. Everybody good? Yeah, I'm just gonna make sure there's everything that's on there. Alright, hey, somebody grab that ice pack real quick. Okay.
All right, I think that's enough of that. Just there's so much to talk about. There's so much to break down here, and really just a tragic. It's a tragic situation. I mean, when people die, it's always sad. It's always tragic. So one interesting aspect of this is when the officer, we're gonna go into this article. When the officer, the initial officer, why did he? I guess my question would be, why did he dive into the vehicle like that?
Sir, step out of the vehicle.
And pull you out. And pull you out. Step out of the car.
Gun.
See, it immediately appeared as though the gun was spotted. Now they were moving. Yeah. That's it was hard to tell. And I've been looking at I've been reading other sources and watching other YouTubers, and that was one of the questions. The officer was attempting to unbuckle the seatbelt, or to control the gun. The thing is it happened so quickly. It was hard to know, was he going in to unbuckle the seatbelt and remove him, or was he going in because he immediately spotted a gun and he was moving in to control the gun? It sort of seems like he was going in to attempt to unbuckle the seat belt, and then the gun was spotted and the officer started saying gun, and that's when they backed up, and that's when they started to take fire into the vehicle. So let's look at this article and then we'll comment some more because I think this provides more context. Police shooting a Farmington man called brutal murder by family. Less than a day after the man's family released a statement, Farmington police released new details Friday on the fatal police shooting. Farmington police released new information Friday about a police shooting Wednesday that left 25-year-old Chase Allen dead. The update came less than a day after the family of Allen accused the 5 officers who police said opened fire on him of brutal murder and said they were being stonewalled by the police department. Well, you know, it's Friday and it just happened on Wednesday. It takes some time for the department to, release official statements. The police shooting unfolded Wednesday in the parking lot of the Farmington Post Office, located 145 East State Street. Police had initially said a Farmington police officer pulled Chase Allen over that afternoon because he was driving without a license plate, and said the former called for backup when Allen became non-compliant. He did have a license plate. It was a fake license plate, and I'm sure those officers knew right away that he was a sovereign citizen from the look of the plate. 4 more officers arrived, and when Allen refused to get out of his car, police said they tried to remove him from a vehicle. Confrontation ensued, and shots were fired by the 5 officers, according to police at the time. Police had not said whether Allen was armed. In a statement released late Thursday, Allen's family disputed the initial police version of what led to his death. Officers claim it was a routine traffic stop, yet the officer requested multiple other officers to the scene a couple blocks prior to the stop, according to the family statement, which does not cite the source of the conflicting information. This resulted in the brutal murder of Chase at the hands of 5 Farmington police officers, with them shooting him while he was still in his automobile and likely terrified for his safety. They shot 12-plus rounds while he was still inside the car, the engine running, lights on. On Friday afternoon, Farmington Police Chief Eric Johnson released a statement with more information about the shooting, noting the officer who pulled Chase Allen over on Wednesday afternoon did so because he was driving with an illegitimate license plate. The statement did not describe the illegitimate license plate. According to Johnson's statement Friday, which cited body camera video of the confrontation that authorities have reviewed but has not yet been released to the public, well, it has been released to the public now, Allen then pulled into a parking stall at the Farmington Police Office, rolled down the window of his blue sedan only a few inches, refusing to provide ID or cooperate with the officer. Johnson said Allen asserted his independence from the laws of the land in the video and stated he was not required to provide information to the officer or cooperate. The officer called for backup and continued to provide the driver with information and options, but to no avail. The 4 officers who then arrived included a supervisor, 2 officers, 1 police trainee. Together, they ordered him to exit his vehicle. When he refused, 1 officer opened the door while another officer attempted to remove him. In the body camera footage, according to the statement, an officer can then be heard yelling the words "gun, gun, gun." It's unclear which officer shouted the warning, but Johnson said a struggle ensued, which lasted only seconds before police opened fire. As authorities began rendering aid, Johnson said an empty holster can be seen on Allen's right hip in the unreleased body camera video, and a handgun can be seen lying on the driver's side floorboard. Johnson did not say whether Allen brandished the gun or fired his weapon. I would just say it doesn't appear that he brandished the gun, but it does appear that it's possible he had the gun in hand, had pulled it out, and had removed it from the holster. And because the gun is no longer in the holster after the incident. I saw this in some other videos. It says the gun is on the driver's side floorboard. So it appears as they're going into the vehicle that he pulls the gun out of the holster. Johnson did not say whether Allen brandished the gun. I guess it depends what you mean by brandished. If you mean that he put it in his hand and pulled it out of the holster, that does appear to be the case. Excuse my stuffy nose. No passengers were inside the vehicle. No officers injured. Allen was taken to a hospital where he died. It's unclear if any bystanders were in the post office parking lot at the time of the shooting. Well, at this point, it's good to have multiple perspectives, because a single video doesn't always tell the whole story. That's for sure. But we did get a lot of information from the body cam video that's been released. In their statement released late Thursday, Allen's family accused Farmington police of not reaching out to them about the shooting and refusing to release more information. That's probably true, but oftentimes internally, a department is going to want to interview all the officers involved. It can take a couple of days. We've learned more from media coverage about what occurred than anywhere else right now. We found out about Chase's death along with the entirety of our community via news reporters and articles online. Police are stonewalling us. Our family's not been permitted to see Chase and has not been contacted by authorities or justice departments with information surrounding the investigation. I don't know what the current status of that is now. Johnson said Friday the Davis County Critical Incident Protocol team is investigating the shooting. The team has provided liaisons to Farmington police as well as Allen's family as the investigation continues. Video footage is only one part of complete comprehension of the incident, and we recognize that our understanding of the incident may change as more information and evidence is gathered and analyzed. That's a very good statement, very true statement. Johnson said Friday, we don't want to draw any final conclusions until the protocol investigation's been completed. A patriot who defended freedom and liberty. Allen's family said Thursday he was a gracious, loving soul who was known by everyone in the community, be caring, thoughtful, and kind, and would do anything for someone in need. I have no reason to disbelieve that. Chase was a son, brother, grandson, nephew, peer, teammate, student, and neighbor, amongst many other important roles. The problem is that these very you have a person who is sometimes who could be very intelligent, very compassionate, very type of person who contributes a lot to the community. But this sovereign citizen ideology, it's like it gets injected into their brains. And it's like a virus, and it turns them into zombies, and it turns people into very dangerous human beings. The family statement went on to say that Allen was selflessly helping and protecting others in need. He'd been studying law the last few years and was a patriot, doing what he could to defend the people's freedom and liberty in his community. But was he studying real law? Was he studying actual United States law or state law, or was he studying the sovereign citizen law? I mean, it's very sad. This is a very unfortunate situation. And then down here, local court records show no recent criminal history for Allen, but according to a probable cause statement, Allen voluntarily showed up at a Davis County Justice Court hearing for a woman who had been charged with a traffic violation. During the hearing, Allen became disruptive and noncompliant and began to resist officers. The document states he refused to comply when told to leave the courtroom. Davis County Sheriff's Office deputy wrote, reasonable force was used to arrest Allen, and he was taken to the Davis County Jail. So without knowing more about that incident, and this is just speculation based on what I know about the sovereign citizen movement, it appears that he showed up to that woman's court hearing to defend her in a capacity that is not legal or allowed. You have to be an attorney to legally represent someone in a court of law. We don't know if he knew that woman or not. But how many times have we seen this? How many times have we seen that exact scenario? The probable cause statement goes on to say that while he was being booked, officers found Allen had a small plastic slide credit card device containing several lockpick items. According to police, Allen matched the description of an individual with warrants, but he refused several requests to identify himself. When asked to stop interrupting, Allen responded deputies had no authority over him, using an expletive. Again, he stated in the interaction with the police that they don't have jurisdiction over him. This was the police shooting Wednesday marked the fourth police shooting in Utah so far this year, which sounds like a lot to me because Utah is just not the most populous state. According to a database, the third and otherwise most recent police shooting in Utah happened on January 9th when authorities shot and wounded a reportedly suicidal woman who police said was armed inside a van and refused to exit. So, all right. Yeah, a lot to say here. So here's one question. Were the police justified in this shooting? It's extremely bad and extremely sad when people or die in any interaction with the police. So let me just say that first. It's tragic, but I think something that the media may have missed and that we'll see more of, I think that these officers knew from the license plate that they were dealing with a sovereign citizen. They may have known that Mr. Allen was a sovereign citizen from some of his past actions. And so they're already approaching the vehicle in a heightened state, and with good reason, because sovereign citizens are extremely dangerous. And anybody who's a normal follower of my show understands this. But they've shot and killed police officers on multiple occasions in the past 20, 30 years. Really, this movement's been going on since the 1970s. They've shot and killed police officers many, many times, sometimes just in cold blood without any cause at all. They are disruptive in court. They're disruptive in public places, and they engage in paper terrorism on a regular basis. So you're dealing with somebody who has a dangerous ideology, and that ideology is basically directed most often at police officers or law enforcement officers of any kind, because they're going to be the ones, they're the representation of the law that individuals are clashing with the most. So the officers come up, heightened sense of security, know they're dealing with a sovereign citizen, multiple commands for him to get out. His further language indicates that he's a sovereign citizen. They attempt to lawfully remove him from the vehicle after he refused lawful orders, and he reached for a firearm. So while it's tragic, I do think that the law is on the side of the officers here. Again, it's very, very sad. What you should do when dealing with a law enforcement in that situation is comply with their commands, comply with their orders, put your hands on the steering wheel during the length of the interaction, roll your window down all the way so that they can see into the vehicle, and inform the police, inform them that you have a firearm on you, something that this individual certainly did not do. And it's extremely sad because, again, these are good people sometimes who are infected with this stupid ideology that is dangerous to them and everybody around them. But it's actually led to many, many people getting killed. So it's sad that a life was lost here. But it does appear to me that the police acted, the individual was reaching for a firearm found in the gun, found in the car, unholstered. They saw him reaching for the firearm. So the shooting is justified under the law. The other thing that I wanted to comment on here, apparently, and I did some additional research just watching other videos. His mother had represented herself in a traffic violation court and had used sovereign citizen language in that interaction, and had, I guess, filed sort of like lawsuits or some sort of paper terrorism type litigation against the individuals involved in her case. So it looks like he's not the only one with the sovereign citizen bug. It could be other members of his family as well, which again is just really unfortunate here. We're seeing entire families adopting this ideology. It's scary. It's not good for the country. It's not good for the world. What else is there to say about this? The sovereign citizen movement is growing, and I've been saying this for years, and it is becoming more and more dangerous. It's a good thing that law enforcement has a greater understanding of this movement now than they did many years ago and over the years. So that's a positive thing. But, the internet, social media, cell phones are causing more and more people to be infected with this bug. So, this is a tragic event. I do believe police were justified. I do think that something the greater media needs to take into account is that they likely knew he was a sovereign citizen, understood they were dealing with a sovereign citizen, and that led to a heightened sense of urgency with the police. It'd be the same as if you were encountering someone who you knew had prior violent criminal convictions, for example. So it's a person with violent tendencies. And it's kind of fascinating to me that when Rise of the Moors were captured, and then in Massachusetts, they kind of sovereign citizen movement sort of hit the mainstream media, and then we had the Brooks trial, which I didn't really cover, but that brought sovereign citizens to the forefront of the national news, and now we have this shooting, which is going to bring it again to the forefront of the national news. So I think the national consciousness is waking up to this. Maybe one of the problems, though, is that the country is dealing with so many things right now. This just doesn't seem like that big a deal. However, I think it's probably a bigger deal than most realize, because it's just slowly percolating and gaining more followers kind of under the radar, and more of these incidents are going to happen. I mean, we're seeing it in the courtroom, and we're seeing it in interactions with the police. So anything we can do to discourage this type of nonsense, I think is a really good idea. So it'll be interesting to follow this, see what other further information comes out about this case, about the investigation. The body cam video gives us a lot of information. I mean, we see and hear the majority of the interaction right up to the end, and so just really sad, really unfortunate. And I hope we can sort of get rid of this whole sovereign citizen BS, because it's dangerous, and it's getting people killed. All right, so that's what I have to say about the sovereign citizen movement. Most of you watch my channel, you already know about it. Maybe I can just do a quick primer here on what the sovereign citizen movement is. Many people say that it sprung out of the anti-tax movements of the 1970s and the militia movements of the 1970s and 1980s. There were a couple of acolytes in the 70s and 80s who really started this sort of thing, where they say, well, when you're dealing with the government, an individual hasn't actually agreed to allow the government to have jurisdiction over them. So what gives the government the right to have jurisdiction, or to have control, or to be able to say what the laws are? And it's often combined with a couple other conspiracy theories. Some sovereign citizens claim that the United States Constitution is invalid, and that actually the Articles of Confederation are the real Constitution. Therefore, anything that came after the current Constitution of the United States is invalid. Some say that there was a sort of banking conspiracy that occurred when the Federal Reserve, removed the United States from the gold standard into a floating currency. And what happened was the banks took over control of the country and subverted the real United States. So now the country is controlled by the banks and by more or less a corporation, which is not a legitimate entity. So sovereign citizens argue the United States government, and oftentimes state government, are not legitimate entities. Therefore, they don't have to follow the laws. They don't have to follow their rules. Couple that with the fact that they believe an individual has natural laws, natural rights, and without giving their consent to a sovereign entity, there's your sovereign, these government bodies, the police, judges, courts, the post office, don't have any power over these people. And this ideology has spread, I believe, very much more so in the past 5 to 10 years with the rise of cell phones, social media, internet access, as these ideas are spread online, and also are engaged in by people trying to make money and fraudulently sell sovereign citizen type documentation or fake passports to people. And the stuff often looks real, it often looks official. It's been going on for a long time now. It affects hundreds of thousands of people. And sovereign citizens throughout the years have been extremely violent when they've encountered police. Multiple police officers have been killed, murdered by sovereign citizens and other individuals also. When they run into the courts, it usually ends badly for them, but is usually pretty negative for everybody involved. In recent years, this movement has spread to other countries, and it takes on sort of different incarnations. For example, in Russia, there are sovereign citizens who state that the Soviet Union never fell, and so the current Russian Federation doesn't have legal status over them or legal control over them. That the Soviet Union is the rightful entity that has the power to set laws and enforce them in those countries. We've seen similar movements in they exist in Great Britain. Mostly they refer to themselves as natural men. Australia, we've seen them in Singapore. We've seen them in Italy, Germany, New Zealand, frankly, all over these days. It's a dangerous ideology. It is seductive to people who have lost their driver's license, who have lost rights under the law, and to people with just a general anti-government bent. It is very seductive to those individuals. So that's all for today. Thank you, everybody, for tuning into the Common Sense Academy. I'm your host, Joe Palmetto, Joe the Lawyer. If you like my content, please like, subscribe, comment, and share. If you want to learn more about the sovereign citizen movement, you can watch more of my videos. You can also buy my book. It's a couple years old now. I need to do some updates. But it's a great primer on what the sovereign citizen movement is, what these people believe, what they say, what they do. You can buy it on Amazon. The link is in the description below. All right, everybody. Have a great evening. Have a great weekend. I'm trying to make more videos, corporate cornhole. I've just been so busy with the practice of law. All right, everybody. Thank you for tuning.